Hey everybody, Scott Brown here with day 41 of Darren LaCroix's Facebook Live Challenge, and my face is frozen. The howling you're going to hear behind me every once in a while for the next couple of minutes is the wind, which is whooping up somewhere around 30 miles an hour or so, making the wind chill temperature here rather unbearable when you're outside having to walk the dogs and salt the sidewalks. But we moved to Fort Wayne, Indiana. My question though is, how often have you found yourself hoarding things that you don't need? Now, when we moved here, it was the 42nd time of my life that I had moved somewhere. So I'm pretty adept at packing and moving, packing and moving, packing and moving. Unfortunately, what I found over the years is that I'm not so adept at unpacking, because while I'm really good at unpacking our luggage and unpacking boxes, I'm not so good at unpacking baggage. What that means is sometimes I carry around the things that I've been holding on to for far too long that don't serve me any good, but for some reason I think that carrying around the baggage is somehow comfortable and somehow beneficial, but it's not. All of us hoard something. Not all of us hoard something physical, but all of us hoard something. So what are you hoarding? Are you hoarding some memory or ill-forgotten idea of who you were? Are you hoarding on to the memory of what you did 10 years ago, of who you were 10 years ago, of that mistake you made 20 years ago, that time you were embarrassed 30 years ago? That had this impact on your life that is only a story because you keep telling the story to yourself? Or are you able to unpack not just the luggage when you move, are you also able to unpack the baggage when you move? Because those are two very different things. Luggage, easy to put away. Baggage, not so easy to get rid of. When I was a kid, my grandparents were still alive, my dad's parents. Unfortunately, with the way that they grew up during the Great Depression, my grandmother became somewhat of a hoarder. When you'd walk through her house, there were just mounds and mounds of clothes and stuff and just crazy stuff. There was just these little pathways that you could somehow weave in and out of certain rooms of her house, but there were other parts you could never get into because of just the mounds of stuff. Like 6-foot high piles of stuff. And some of it was cool, but most of it was just like garage sale remnants that was something that somebody else was getting rid of, but she thought that maybe she would need one day. So she held on to it all. And when my grandparents got sick and they ended up moving to Florida before they, for the last few years of their life, and we had to empty out their house in Mount Lebanon, when we started going through all this stuff, none of it was things that she had ever touched. The amount of stuff that she had in there with price tags on it was just phenomenal. And all it did was just create a fire hazard. It was just a nightmare of stuff to get rid of. We ended up bringing in 40-yard dumpsters and just wheeling stuff out of our house, across the roof, and throwing it into the dumpsters, never to be used again. She was hoarding stuff that she thought that she needed because she was afraid that something was going to happen and she was going to have to pull it out, and that's what was going to save her. Emotions and our personal baggage is the same way. We carry around stuff that we don't need, that we hold on to, that is somebody else's perception of us, that is our own perception of us, that's been long outdated, and we're holding on to it because we think for some reason we're going to need that in the future. We think that by carrying that around, it is somehow protecting us from what's happening in our life today. And it's not. It's not just stuff that we carry in our personal lives. I've worked in plenty of organizations and worked for plenty of people that carried around the baggage of relationships that had gone wrong, of working situations that had gone wrong, of employee situations that had gone wrong, and they carry around those memories and that baggage, and they project that baggage onto really good people and ruin really good careers and drive amazing people right out the door and right into the arms of their competitors. it never helps us to carry around the baggage somebody else needs. There is no reason to be a Sherpa for other people's expectations, to be a Sherpa for our own baggage of things that are long outdated, or to be the Sherpa of unrealistic expectations. We're going to evolve over time. Life has this way of just kind of working out. And if you keep focusing on your next step, on getting better, on investing in yourself, on investing in others and helping others grow, you're going to find a way to get rid of all of your baggage. Now, I know after having moved to Fort Wayne on the 42nd move, I can start to really identify some of the baggage that I carry around. And I'll tell you, one of the pieces of baggage that I'm struggling to unpack right now is the memories of the house that I left in a warm climate with a beautiful pond, a beautiful kitchen on a beautiful lake in a beautiful town that I had grown to call home. And I find myself reminiscing about that in a way that makes me know that I need to let it go, because I know that at the bottom of my heart, we're probably not going back there for a long time. And it's not healthy to hold on to that. But I find myself holding on to it in a way that is comfortable, but at the same time damaging. What is it that you're holding on to? What baggage are you hoarding that serves you no good? That's doing nothing but stopping you from moving forward, from taking the next step, from building a new relationship, from really ingratiating yourself into your new surroundings and making life much better, not just for you, but for everyone around you. So if you find yourself hoarding onto emotions and situations and feelings and hoarding onto those events that serve you no good, the time has come for you to unpack that baggage, because it's not going to help you move forward. It's going to keep you planted right here, stuck right where you are, listening to the voices behind you. And as we all know, you can't drive forward if all you're doing is looking in the rearview mirror. So unpack your baggage, move forward, and even if it's painful, even if it's hard to let go, get rid of those things that don't serve you well anymore. It might just be time for you to move, if not physically, emotionally, and mentally. It might be time for you to move to a place where you can be a much better version of yourself. So until tomorrow, have a great night, stay warm, and if you're in Florida, don't tell me how cold it is there. It's 53 there. It's 3 here. Have a good night, folks.